Hello, grade 11s. Back again with your trigonometry. Today we'll be solving trig equations. But in the meantime, I'm just going to pose a question for you that we're going to be answering during the course of the session. How many solutions do you expect to find for the following trigonometric equations? Okay, you've got sine theta equals to 0.333 for theta between 0 degrees and 360. And then the other one, please take it down. Sine for theta equals to 0.3333 from 0 to 360 degrees. Okay, just take a second to take this down and then we do our session. Done. Sharp. Now, just want us to look at the key concepts for this part of trigonometry, the steps that you need to follow in solving a trigonometric equation, right? Get the trig ratio on its own on one side and a constant on the other side. Now, what do you mean by that? Let's say, for instance, you've got 2 tan x plus 4 equals to 0, right? Get the trig ratio on its own, all right? So, in other words, I must have tan as a subject of the formula. So, tan x will be minus 4. This is multiplying by 2 divided by 2. So, tan x is minus 2. So, tan x is negative 2. That's number one. Ensure that you have either sine, cos, tan as your ratio. And in this case, we've got the tan as our ratio. Use the inverse trig function on the calculator with positive value from the right-hand side of the equation. This gives us what we call a key angle. So in other words, I am going to work out a key angle by saying shift tan of 2. Then this is our reference angle. So this is what it means. Okay. Right. Now, remember again, in the previous sessions, we've spoken about the cast diagram, right? That in the first quadrant, all the trig ratios are positive. In the second quadrant, it's sine and it's reciprocal. In the third quadrant, it's tan and it's reciprocal. And then in the fourth quadrant, it is cos. We will be using this again when solving equations and in finding your general solution. Right. Now, just before we get to this example, I've given you some activity to think about, the number of solutions that we're going to be having. Now, I'm going to ask you, which is not part of the session that you've got here, sine x equals to half, right? I want you to work out the values of x, where x is between x is between 0 and 360, and then you'll be able to tell how many solutions you're going to have there. Just take 1 minute and work out the values of x for x from 0 degrees to 360 degrees. Just 1 minute, guys. All right, guys, remember in your grade 10, you had a graph of y equals to sine x. Now, how does this graph look? Right, there's a 1 and a minus 1. So this is your x and that's your y. Okay, the graph of sine x from 0 to 360 is that. Okay, now we have sine x equals to half. So halfway through, you want to check how many solutions are we going to get. When you are working, you should have how many solutions? 2 solutions there, all right? Like we explained in the example, you find your key angle, right? So your key angle is your shift sine of 0.5 is 30, all right? So that's your key angle, it's 30 degrees. Now, guys, you go back and now check. There's a sign in front of the half, which is a plus. What does that mean? It's telling us that sine is positive, but we all know, using all 4 quadrants, sine is positive in the first and second quadrant. So this is the first and second quadrant. Now remember, this is a graph. We are working the x values that will give us that half. So you see, we want to work out what's the value of x there, what's the value of x there. Now, our answer should be your x has to be greater than 0, but less than 180 degrees. Now, let's check. It's 0 degrees plus an angle, 180 degrees minus an angle. All right, so you have your x is 0 degrees plus an angle which is 30 degrees, or 180 degrees minus 30 degrees, which gives us 30 or 150. This is just a typical example for now, before we just get onto your general solutions and so forth. Okay, now I hope this you have revised a bit your solving of your trig equations from grade 10. Now I am giving you this problem now, guys. Cos 2 theta is equals to sine of 12. Your theta has to be from 0 degrees to 90 degrees, so we're only using the first quadrant. Again, it's 1 minute. I know you guys are very fast and we're not going to waste time. Let's find the value of theta given cos 2 theta is sine 12. All right, guys, let's check how we should have done it. You've got your cos 2 theta equals to sine 12. Now, your key angle, of which in this case, you are already working in the first quadrant. So we're going to say shift cos of sine 12 yeban. It is 78 degrees. Okay, so that is your key angle if you were working maybe with 4 quadrants and so forth. So we have 2 theta, it's equals to 78 degrees. Then your theta is 78 divided by 2, which is your 39. So you've got your 39 as your theta. Okay, from 0 degrees to 90. Now, let's move on. Okay, guys, again, because you know that maths is a hands-on subject. It's not a spectator subject where you just chill and then you look at others, they're doing it and whatnot, or you just go and jump and then come back, you get some marks. No, you have to be hands-on with these activities. Let us take again, because I'm going to help you as well. Take 2 minutes and then you work with a friend, do this problem for sine of theta minus 15 equal to negative 12, and your theta is from 0 degrees to 270. Okay, let's go, guys. 2 minutes. All right, guys, let's just check again. We said we make sure that the trig ratio is the subject of a formula, the sine of something, cos of something, or tan. So in this case, you've got a 4. You divide by 4 throughout, you'll have your sine of theta minus 15 degrees is negative half. Now, next you find your key angle or your reference angle. You say shift sine of 0.5 and you get 30, right? So your key angle is 30 degrees. Now, you go back to your equation. There is a minus there. What does that minus say? It's telling us that sine is negative. Sine is negative in 2 quadrants. It's the 3rd and the 4th quadrant. Because we are solving for x, right? We're finding the zeros of this function. We either use 0,360 or 180, not the 90 and 270. How do we find an angle in the 4th quadrant? It's 360 degrees minus and then 180 degrees plus. Okay? Right. Now, so we have your theta minus 15. It's equals to 180 degrees plus 30, all right, or theta minus 15 is 360 minus 30, and then you've got your theta is, now guys remember, for now we're just checking from 0 to 270, okay? But what I would suggest here is to find the general solution, of which we're going to do it shortly. So this is your 180 degrees. 180 plus 30 plus 15, and that's 225. Okay, so you've got 225, and then 360 minus 30, that's 330, plus, so theta will be 345. Okay, now if you look, we said between 0 and 270, so 335 is out. But now, if you've used the general solution, you'll be able to see all these solutions. But because we're just recapping on what you guys have done in grade 10, let's just stop there for now. Let's go for break and then come back and continue with our work. Let's go. Welcome back, grade 11s. We proceed. I've been talking about this general solution and whatnot. And I just want to give an example. This you take down, okay? Determine the general solution of cos of negative 0.766. Take it down for now. On a piece of paper somewhere, I just want to explain something. Okay, let us say we have sine of 2 theta equals to negative 0.5. Okay, and then we are asked to generalize, which is finding the general solution. So I'm taking you through all the steps. Okay, so this is sine 2 theta equals to negative 0.5. We make sure that the trig ratio is a subject of the formula. That's number one, okay? Now, we find our key angle. Remember, guys, when you're working with sine and cos, right? Right, your sine x, it's always between, it's between -1 and 1. For instance, guys, straight away, if I give you sine x equals 1, 2, and then I'm asking you to solve for x, you'll just say, this is impossible because your sine is always has to be between -1 and 1. Okay, now let's look at this problem. You need to find the key angle because already your sine is a subject. How do you find the key angle? Shift second function, sine of 0.5 is 30. All right, so that is 30 degrees. Now, we go back again. This minus is saying sine is negative in 2 quadrants. Okay, it's in the 3rd and 4th. So your 2 theta is 180 degrees plus the key angle, right? Plus, or 2 theta is 360 minus 30 degrees plus. Now, guys, why am I leaving a plus here? Because of we are generalizing, we need to add the period. Okay, where is it going to repeat itself? So sine is repeating itself every after 360. It completes a cycle. Same as cos. But if we tan, it's going to repeat every after 180 degrees. So 360 degrees times k, 360 degrees times k. And then you must always state your k is an element of any integer. Then you simplify. Your 2 theta is 210 degrees plus 360 times k, or 2 theta is 330 plus 360 times k. All right? Now, at the end of the day, what you need to do is your theta or your x or your beta or whatever you're solving for has to be the subject of a formula. So in this case, you've got your 2 theta. So theta will be, is it 105 plus 180 degrees times k. And your k is an element of any integer. And then here, theta is, it's 1, carry 165 plus 180 degrees times k, and your k is an element of any integer. So you must make sure that at the end of the day, you have your theta as your subject of the formula. Okay, right. Now, you've got a bit or a feeling of how you need to do your general solution. It's not too much extension from your grade 10, but remember what we used to do in grade 10. We're just working with the first quadrant. Now we're including all 4, all right? So, and then we need to be reminded of the period of sine, the period of cos, and the period of tan. Sine and cos, it repeats every after 360, and then your tan, it's every after 180. All right, now let's take 2 minutes, guys, and work on cos equals to negative 0.766 and find the general solution for that. Right, I needed to give some space. Right, you've got cos theta equals to negative 0.766. Let's take 2 minutes and then we'll work on it together as well. Let's go. Guys, some of you are struggling with it. Okay, let me help you, guys. Those of you who are still lost, okay? Now, watch, I've ignored the negative. Not that I'm ignoring the negative completely. I'm working with the positive angles, okay? So here, finding our key angle or reference angle, we're saying shift cos of 0.766, okay? Second function, cos 0.766, and that is like roughly 40. Let's just take it as 40 degrees, 40.00. Okay, now, so I've got my reference angle. Then now I go to this negative. I'm working with cos, all right? So cos is negative in 2 quadrants. It's positive here and there, so it means that it's negative there and there. In the second quadrant, it's 180 degrees minus, and then 180 degrees plus an angle. Remember that we are working the x values of that particular graph, okay? Now, we are going to have our theta equals to 180 degrees minus 40, right? Plus, remember, the period for cos is 360 degrees times k, and your k is an element of any integer. Or your theta is 180 degrees plus 40 plus 360k. K is an element of the integer. Now, you then simplify. Your theta is 140 degrees plus 360k, or your theta is 220 plus 360k. All right. Now, guys, you've got this as your general solution. The question can be slightly different for this. They can say, solve for theta is from 0 to 270. Now, this is when you are now going to substitute the values of k, test them in your general solution, and you will be looking at if they fall under the restriction, then those will be your solutions. But we'll get to that. Okay, now guys, the next problem is a difficult problem, okay, for you grade 11s. Let's skip that one. We're going to be doing it together. I'm going to ask you to do this one. 4 tan theta equals to negative 1.7. Your theta is from 0 to 360. Let's take 2 minutes, guys. You work with your friend, and then let's see who gets this one correct first. Let's go. 2 minutes. All right, guys, good try. Let's look at it now. You've got your tan theta is minus 1,7 all over 4. That's what we agreed on. You make sure that your trig ratio is the subject of the formula. And then from there you find your key angle, which in this case you're going to say shift tan of 1,7 divided by 4, and that is 23.03, something like that, 23.03 degrees. And where is tan negative? It's negative in the second and fourth, right? You'll notice that when you've done your general solution, your tan, it's going to give you the same values, but just to be on the safe side, use both. Okay, so you'll have your theta is 180 degrees minus 23.03 plus 180 degrees, your period of tan, and then your k is an element of any integer. And then theta is 360 degrees minus 23.03 plus 180 degrees times k. So now your theta is, you simplify that, it's going to show a negative, but I'm going to ignore. You saw what I did, 156.97. 156.97 plus 180k, or theta is 360 minus 23.03. You 336.97. 336.97 plus 180k. Okay. Now, guys, and then you are told that your theta is from 0 to 360. Now, let's check how we get to our solutions. If you look, I'm just going to write in a different pen. Theta will be, if you sub in a 0 here, you get 156.97. Or if you put a 1, you'll get 336.97. If you put a 2, that's even more than that. And then now if you sub in a 0 here, you get 336.97. And then guys, you can check if you've got any other solutions as well. But for now, I just want to give you some rest. Just go and stretch a bit, get something to drink, and then come back. We continue with our lesson. Let's go for break. Welcome back, grade 11s. We still continue with solving our trig equations, and we just looked at the basic ones, which was your grade 10, and then now we just checked with grade 11, we're using all 4 quadrants, okay? But now I need to explain something here. We've done the general solution as well, but now I want us to actually look at some more complicated ones. Let us say you are given sine of x equals to negative cos x. One, what did you say in the beginning of the lesson, all right? Make sure that your trig ratio is a subject of the formula, which in this case can be sine or cos. But now if you look at this example, you don't have a situation like before where you have sine x is negative 0.2. You've got sine x equals to negative cos x. How do you deal with this one? If the angles are the same, remember we said tan x is the same as sine x over cos x. So in other words here, I can simplify this to negative cos x. I can divide by cos x, divide by cos x, and then this gives us the tan of x equals to minus 1. Now guys, it is now straightforward. It's like the ones that we've been doing. You find your key angle, which in this case is 45, and then its tan is negative in the second and the fourth. X is 180 minus 45 plus 180 degrees times k. K is an element of any integer, or x is 360 minus 45 plus 180 degrees times k. K is an element of any integer. And then from there you simplify, x is that. Now, how about C? All right? Now, if we get a more complicated one, I want you guys to try this one. Take 3 minutes. I know some of us might struggle with this particular problem, but let's just check. You've got sine of 3x plus 50 equals to cos of 2x minus 10. X is an element of negative 180 to 180. Let's take 3 minutes. Try it. I'm not asking you to get a correct answer, but just work with your friend, and then from there, I'm going to show you how to do this one. Let's take 3 minutes. Guys, well done for trying. And those of us who didn't get it, let's see how you do it. I just want you to listen attentively. If I've got sine of 30, okay, let's just put maybe sine of x equals to cos of maybe 2x minus 15, all right? Now, remember that sine is a co-ratio of the cosine, all right? Now, how can I make this to be the same as that? This is sine of x is. It's going to be sine of, now remember, we're using the first quadrant as our key angle, 90 degrees minus your 2x minus 15. And then you can simplify from there. Okay, so that's where the trick is. Right. Now, you've got sine of 3x plus 50 equals to cos of 2x minus 10. The angles are not the same. So how do you make the trig ratios to be the same? This is sine of 3x plus 50 equals to sine of 90 degrees minus 2x minus 10. Guys, what does this mean? Sine of 90 degrees minus is the first quadrant. How is sine in the first quadrant? Positive. But because of 90, sine changes to cos of the angle. So we're still having the same thing. So you've got your sine of 3x plus 50. It's equals to 90 plus 10. That's sine of 100 minus 2x. Okay. Now, guys, remember, when we're doing exponents, 2 to x equals to 2 to 3. Your x is 3. Drop the bases and whatnot. If you look here, you've got the same bases. You've got sine and sine. Now, how do you do it in trigonometry? I am working with the 3x plus 50. So that's going to be your 3x plus 50. With some space. Equals to. Right. This is sine. The sign that's here, it's a plus. Where is sine positive? In the first and second. This part of the right hand side will serve as my key angle. So in the first quadrant, it's going to be 0 plus your key. Now 0 plus 100 minus 2x, which is our key angle, plus, what's the period of sine? It's 360 degrees times your k. And then k is an element of any integer. Okay, so you've got your 3x is 50 minus 2x plus 360k. I've taken this 50 across, so that is 100 minus 50, which is that 50. And then you've got to make x the subject. I still have an x on the right hand side, so take it across. You've got your 5x is 50 degrees plus 360 times k. Now, we said we make x the subject of a formula because that's what you're solving for. So x is, you're dividing by 5 throughout, x is 10 degrees plus 360. I'm just like you guys now. I'm lazy to use my brain. 360 divided by 5. I've got a calculator. That is 72. So 72 degrees times k. And k is an element of any integer. Oh, right? Now, I'm trying to extend the page, but I'm battling. Okay, right? Or your 3x plus 50 degrees is 180 degrees minus our key angle, which is 100, minus 2x plus 360k. And then, guys, from there you simplify, okay? Right. Now, let's do it quickly. You've got 180 minus 100, which is 80. Subtract the 50, you get 30. And then this is plus 2x, take it across, then you get your x is 30 plus, now guys, my slide is refusing to extend, but you can see what I'm doing. 180 minus 100, that's 20. Okay, then take the 50 across, you get minus 30. All right, That's 80. That's 100 minus, 180 minus 100. That's 80 minus 30 and minus 50. That is 30 degrees. Okay. So you've got your x is 30 degrees, right? 180 degrees minus. And then this minus times that minus is a plus 2x. Subtract, take the 2x to the other side. It is a plus, then becomes a negative, then x is 30 plus 360k, and k is an element of any integer. All right, so that's how you work out your general solution. And guys, I promise you, this one is the complicated one, the general solution that we just did. Okay, now if you ask to determine the general solution for the particular one, this problem, I'm just going to do it with you. I know working with fractions, we are still having problems. Guys, this question is 2 sine theta equals to 1 over sine theta plus 1. It has got a denominator of sine theta. You've got your LCD, which is sine theta. You multiply by sine theta throughout, you get 2 sine squared theta equals to 1 plus sine theta. Then this is 2 sine squared theta minus sine theta minus 1 is 0. Now, guys, what has happened here? This is now a trinomial, okay? You've got your 2 sine theta, 1 and 1, okay? Then a minus and a plus equals to naught. Sine theta is negative half, or sine theta is a 1, all right? Now, here, you can either use your graphs, okay? Right, this is a graph of sine. You know that sine theta equals to 1. You'll be having it there at 90 and so forth. Or you get your key angle and so forth and so forth. And then if you look at sine theta equals to negative half will be somewhere there, right? So you'll be having 2 parts. Now, I'm just going to tell you what to do, which is what we've been doing. You find your key angle. How do you find your key angle? You say shift sine of a half, which in this case, we get a 30 degrees. Where is sine negative? It's in the 3rd quadrant, in the 4th quadrant. 3rd quadrant is 180 plus, and then 4th quadrant is 360 minus. And then from there, you add your period of sine, okay? So in other words, we've got something like this. This is x equals 180 plus theta, and theta is 30 plus 360k as your period, or x is 360 minus plus your period, which is 360k. So in simple terms, we've got x is 210 degrees plus 360k, or x is 330 plus 360k, which is the first part. And then you can do the other part as well. Guys, if you want to get better in this, you practice more, and remember what we said in the beginning. Trigonometry is the easiest section. You just need to practice. You grab all the marks. And till next time, bye-bye.